subjects. Is she attending the class? Hello?
Same lang gyapon, ma'am.
Same pod, ma'am. Yun na pangitaan siya sa uban professors.
Pero unsa man siya? Wala na
Ang
kasi
last
wala man
na
siya midterm.
ang last na mo nga update, ma'am, kay katong gisakitan siya tiyan na nagpatambal.
Sige lang sakit agtiyan, sige lang tagpatambal ane. No? Tanan jud tanang assignment pati midterm sakit agtiyan. O di ba? Sige. Simple lang. Pag moingon na siya na she is no longer attending the class, tapos i-drop niya para malagyan ko na dito. Ha? Para hindi na tayo magka-problema. Okay. So, alam niyo na mga status ninyo, ano? Okay. So, work it out. Oo. Kasi tinawagan ko na, no? Ang mga, ito, na-mention ko na ba? Please work it out. Kaya pa yan. Kayang-kaya yan.
Excuse me po, ma'am. De la Cruz, ma'am, Mary Ann. Na-check na ko akong Google Classroom karon, ma'am. Turn in na po lahat. Wala na pong missing sa akin.
Kailan mo na turn in? Ha? De la Cruz. De la Cruz. Ano nangyari sa'yo?
Ma'am. Ma'am, na ano lang po, ma'am, kanang na done late, ma'am, ba kay?
Kailan mo na turn in? Kasi ako kagabi, nag-checking na naman ako. The
Wait
other,
lang, ma'am.
ha?
Ang akong tanawan ang sa akong infographics kay mas man ni wala may date we. Dan late ra manggod ni ma'am. Nya
Okay. To see is to believe. Talagang balikan kita, tingnan ko. Nagkabalik ba ako? De la Cruz. Wala. De la Cruz, wala. Oo. Missing.
De la Cruz, Mary Ann, ma'am.
Ha? Ilan pala kayong De la Cruz?
Angel De la Cruz og ako po, ma'am.
De la
Kaya
Cruz.
naman
Isa lang sa akin. De la Cruz, ano ito, Mary Ann?
Anara ako, ma'am, o na turn in na manggod.
De la Cruz, hindi. De la Cruz, ano man ito? De la Cruz, Mary Ann.
Ako na, ma'am.
Oo. De la Cruz.
Ma'am, na turn in ko na po.
De la Cruz, ano ito? Angel, ang wala.
Okay po, ma'am.
Si De la Cruz, Mary Ann.
Thank you, ma'am.
Angel, wala mang mark. Si De la Cruz, Mary Ann. Saan ito si De la Cruz, Mary Ann? Dalawa pala kayo?
Ay, ma'am, ako na. Ako na.
Hindi ko maintindihan.
Lang.
Ano ba?
Ako, ma'am, ang De la Cruz, Mary Ann.
Tapos, ikaw din si De la Cruz Angel.
Hindi po. Si Angel kay taga Lucena man na siya. Aurora man na. Dito man na siya dapit. Same lang may apelido, ma'am, pero dili may kuan.
Ang wala sa akin.
Relatives.
Sandali. Ang missing sa akin is si Angel. Sino yan? Ikaw
okay.
ba yan?
Angel. Hindi po, ma'am.
O, asan na si De la Cruz, Mary Ann?
Ako, ma'am. Mary Ann De la Cruz ko.
Ikaw ang missing, Day. One proof? Oh.
Ma'am?
Ang missing dito is Angel De la Cruz.
Hindi po ako yan, ma'am.
So, Angel De la Cruz. Missing. Oh. Asan na si Angel De la Cruz? Hello? Angel man ang wala. Mary Ann. Bakit? Ala, ako nag-ano dito. De la Cruz, Mary Ann. Hello, ikaw to? De la Cruz.
Yes, ma'am.
Bakit wala ka dito sa ano? Bakit wala ka sa, ano tawag dito? Sa Google Classroom?
Hala, ma'am, nako sa Google Class po, naka-enroll po ako kay makita manggod na ako, naka-turn in manggod ko tanan, ma'am.
Tingnan
Basin
ko
si
muna.
Angel.
Tingnan ko. Wala mang mark. Wala mang mark sa akin si Angel. Kaya lang hindi ko makita dito. Asan ang Angel, be?
Si Angel po, ma'am, ang ano. Hinay magunang signal sa ilaha.
Dali, Hani, Aquila, Kapal, Robilio, Salisi. Wala talaga.
Hala.
Naka-enroll ka dahil sa ano? Angel?
Ma'am,
Naka-enroll
si
ka?
Angel.
Marian, naka-enroll ka
Yes,
dito
ma'am.
sa...
Yes, ma'am. Na-enroll po ako lahat.
Paano ko nakila? Basahin ko ha. Marian, eto, andito na. Wala ka mang problema. De La Cruz, Marian. Si ano man
Okay,
si Angel. Asa na kaya si Angel, no? Asa na si
Angel,
Angel?
ma'am.
Oh,
Hinay magunang signal sa ilaha, ma'am niya. Usahay pud kay kanang kuan ba? Ma-behind siya. Wala pud mi kabalo unsay kuan. Unsay rason niya, pero
okay. Huwag na natin problemahan ang mga tao. Sige, picture muna, be, picture. Oo. Sige, makaya pa man ito actually. Oo, no? So just make up your anong tawag dito? No? At least, okay, by now, alam niyo na ang status ninyo, ha? Sige, open your cam. Open your cam. Okay, then prepare na for our orals. Oo. Okay. Monitor ko naman ang mga orals ninyo. Halos kayo makapagsalita. Okay. Alam kung kaya ninyo. No? O, sige. Picture muna. Picture muna. Ang laki-laki na ng mga orals ninyo. Pero hindi pwede. Na doon lang tayo sa orals, ha? Hello? Everybody? Oo. You got plenty, no? Very high in your orals. Ang dami. Halos tag 99, 98. Hindi ako tihik, actually, no, na magbigay ng mga orals. So, ang laki-laki, no? Tag 98, 97, may 96. So far, sa aking orals, anong pinaka-lowest? Mayroon din 93. Pero usually, 97, 98, 99. Marami ako 97. No? Mayroon din na 98, 99. No? Kasi, ang ganyan nyo kayang magsalita. No? Almost all of you. Kaya I encourage you to participate, to gain points. Oo. Kasi dito, so far, straight, 1, 2, 3, ang mga entry lang, 4, 5. May iba dito, isa lang ang entry, dalawa lang ang entries. No? Oo. Habol kayo, mag-oral. No? Wala namang dito. It's just a matter of just share, di ba? Yun ang natin, right? Okay. Sige. So, let us bow down our heads in prayer. Our most loving Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for today's meeting. We just want to submit to you, Lord, the rest of the day. Thank you for the attendance of each one. May you just bless them continually and even their respective families. Give us the wisdom and we continue to bless us always and give us good health. All these things we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Picture. Open para makita ang kagwapo. Picture. Picture, please. Okay. Wait lang ha, sandali lang. Sige, picture. Picture muna. Hello, picture. Picture muna. Picture. Ayan, kapangagwapo. Sige. Grabe ka dako og kuan ni bayubay katawa. Nakakita siguro siya ang crush. Okay, sige yung katawa. File, save as. This is July 25. July 25. Okay. Pwede ang magsalita ngayon, pwede habol yung hindi pa naka-oral, no? Okay, well, I will be calling those who are interested actually to talk, but please, let us prioritize today itong wala pang mga entries, no? Kay kasayang, ma-zero kayo talaga. Hala kayo. No? Do not allow yourselves na ma-zero kayo. O, di ba? Sige, magsalita. 29, July 25, object 1. Okay. Save, open, save. Okay. What about the other slide? Open camera. Although hindi na kayo makita dito. Sige, open your cam. This is for the second slide. This is July 25 tayo, ano? Malapit na tayong magbakasyon. Kaya yung mga may kulang pa, kaya yan. Oo, kayang-kaya. No? Just comply, ha? Please. Please. Kaya sayang. Sayang. Ay. Hindi. Ano tayo? Managing the classroom environment. Okay. Nalagay ko pala doon sa ano. Sige, admit all. Nalagay ko ang ano. Sige, ulit na lang tayo sa first ano. Kasi nalagay ko doon sa purposive. Wait ha, sandali. Open your cam. Sa first row. Okay. File, save as. Okay, this is July 25. Object 11. July 25, object 11. Ano to? Okay. Pick number 3. Okay, save. Okay. All right. Sige. Let us have our presentation today. And as I have said, habol please. Itong hindi pa anong tawag dito? Hindi pa naka-orals. Oo. No? Please, alam nyo na hindi kayo nakapagsalita. Although, mayroon kayong mga text message doon sa ano, which actually I am trying to jot down here, no? Itong nagme-message, nagsi-share sa FB natin, but please, see to it na makapagsalita ka talaga. Is that clear? Ha? Klaro ba? Klaro?
Yes, ma'am.
No, klaro?
Opo, ma'am.
Wag nang pabalik-balik. Wag nang pabalik-balik itong si ano, ito lang nagpabalik-balik sa akin. Ito sila si Barrios, ito sila si Bilarmino, ito sila si Bilonyo, itong mga Bulado. Okay. Si Bulado naman ay, anong nangyari kay Bulado? Diba? Si Bulado is very active in ating mga orals. Diba? Diba? Paragi natin siyang marinig. Oy, asa na? Si Bulado. Ano? Sige, kaya yan. Sayang ito. No? Ito din si Marian. Oo.
Ay, ma'am, doon lang mag-explain po, ma'am.
Naka-oral man ito sila. Ito, marami. No? Pero ito mini-mention ko, ito yung palaging nakaano dito. ang tawag nito, may mga mark. No? Pabalik-balik. Diba? Palagi nag-raise hand. Diba? Ang dami, marami dito, marami. Hindi ko na ma-mention ha. Hindi ko na ma-mention. O sige. Alright, can we have anong grupo ngayon? Kasi tapos na. Tapos na ang kay Kabilin. Okay, sige na next. Kasi maubusan na tayo ng oras. Sige. Tapos open na tayo na. Anuhan ko na lahat-lahat. Sige. Everybody will talk. Their takeaways, lahat-lahat, mga ideas nila on the topic given. Okay, go. Go, 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 go. Sige. Sino mag-share? Hello? Kuya, ang buhok ni Kabili, no? Daniel? Pina-spike ang buhok ni Daniel. Katawa. Oh, smile na mas Daniel. Sige, come on, come on. Hello?
Crush, ma'am. Sorry.
Na si Crush. Mas maayo pa na. Para inspired. Nagipalong na hinuon ni Daniel ang kuan. No? Ang iyang kamera.
Ma'am, naka-disable, ma'am.
Sorry, anak. Sorry. Sorry, nak. Sorry. Ito. Yan. Okay, sorry. Sige. Sige, take down notes. Tapos you mention, ha? When you are going to answer, give your takeaways, mention also the topic and the reporter para ma-acknowledge mong narinig kanya o ikaw ay nakinig sa kanya. Di ba? Maganda din yung makinig din kayo. Sige. So I'll give the floor to Sina ngayon ha, Sina. I want to hear you, Sina. I want to hear you
Honey Group 8.
Yes. Si Angel po. Angel, magsalita ka, Angel, ha? De la Cruz. Angel. Ito din, sino pa? Na gusto kong pasalitain. Si Maravilla. Asa na kaya si Maravilla, no? Si Martilino din. Pero in fairness, ha, si Martilino, complete. Di ba, Martilino? Magsalita, Martilino. At saka, Parpan. Parpan. Asan na si Parpan? Parpan? Hello, darling. Parpan. Magsalita, Parpan, ha? Sige, get ready. Tawagin ko kayo mamaya. Huwag na magpatawag. Automatic na, okay. Start na, please. Yeah. Wala sounds?
Wala may madunggan.
Wala lagi sounds. Ano naman na? Anong nangyari? Wala sounds? Ang sa ganyan nga grupo? Week 8 man eh, no? Ang sa nga grupo? What group? The group of? Hello?
Group 8 ata na sila, ma'am.
Kinsa may mga tao ani?
Sila Mayola. Si
Group
Pablo.
8, ma'am. Mayola, Pablo, Martilino, Nakila.
Mayula, Nakila, Orcolio, Pablo. Sige. Naano mga orals po sila kani nga grupo. Naka-orals sila. Now, nag-report na po sila. Sige. Bakit lang? Walang ko ano. Sige. Wait lang kami. Go. I-share ang sound na. Tuplok ka to. Katong nasa ubos. Share sound. Di ubos atong kaning sa slide ani. Na ani dito. True ha? Ay sa, i-ready sabi, i-ready ta to, i-open to daan. Tapos, pag tuplok nimo atong share nak sa video, do na dito sa ubos, share sound. Murag, sa wala man siguro na, nga button. O sa tuo ba na? Okay. Saan mo gigamit? Kapag sound, no? Ano ka na? Wala, Jud. Day, Hanilet. Walay sound, Day. Honey.
Yes, ma'am. Naman live sounds, ma'am. I think sa ma'am, sa audio nila.
Hala, nga naman na.
Mo. I mean sa
Sa mo.
Wala
Skip.
di madungog. Wala di madungog.
Gi-open mic ni mo imuhang kuan miss. I-try daw open mic.
Oh, but naka-close mic. I mean, off mic.
Sige, otro harahan. Wala, Jod. Mary Ann de la Cruz.
Ma'am.
O,
Yes,
basi ma-worry ka, Day, ha? Wala ba ya, Day? Kuan imo diri, Day. Check tanan, Day.
Yun,
De la Cruz to siya, Day, nga. Angel, ha? Basi, ako i-repeat ka, basi nag-worry ka diha, no?
Yes, ma'am. Na-worried jud ko.
Ay, ako worry. Kay,
Pero,
kuan
ma'am.
oo, nagtapad man mo duha, no? Oo,
Lagi,
okay
ma'am,
lang.
boy.
Oo, si Angel lang, pati-contact sa iya, be, please. Oo.
Pun siya online good, ma'am. Panagsara man na siya.
Okay. Sige, Mary Ann.
Sige, ma'am.
Noted man po, Mary Ann, ang imong mga orals na aman po diri, kabutang. Sige.
Sige, ma'am. Thank you.
Uy, asa naman? Unsa ni hitabo? Unsa ka ni hitabo? Wa para ba kailang ko ano? Mura man ni Canva, no? Kaya gamit silang layout. Canva sila.
Canvang mostly sa amo, ma'am.
Mas ganahan ko Canva dong. Pati maganidong kanang sa ano, sa kanang mga infographics, no? Ganahan gud ko sa iyang layout. Limpyo, no? Limpyuhan ko.
Yes, ma'am.
Oo.
Ano to siya yung mga settings o mga
Oo, ganahan ko sa Canva kay kanang pagtanaw nako kay Hanoy kaayo kana bang arrange siya, no? Arrange siya.
Daghay available na template, ma'am.
Correct. Ilahang wall kay lami, no? Pati ilahang font. Ganahan ko sa ilang mga font. Pagtuon mo ana everyone, no? Kay gamit siya sa inyong mga projects. Sa mga e-portfolio ganahan po ko ana. Okay ra ko ana.
Okay lang na siya, Prof. Aside sa katong weeks.
Ha?
Katong weeks bitaw sa e-portfolio, di ba? Katong
Ayaw pagamit mo Wix, be. Hala, doon na ba ang Wix lagi? Kay doon naman, di, ano? Doon na siya kanang unsa deadline, dili kanang, unsa term, anak, kanang, kanang mawala na bitaw siya dili na ma-open unsa nga na ha?
Inspiration.
Expiration na mabuang gyud ko sa weeks. Lami lang gyud noon pud ang weeks no kay na mag-home ka daghang kag klikon mag-ano ka mag kanang murag hyperlink pero paita Ginoo ko dili na gyud siya basta mag-ano ka la naaraba na siya expiration.
Good morning, everyone. My
Hello,
first
good
topic
morning.
for today is all about deal with off-task behaviors via the teaching cycles, a mechanism for focusing. Maintaining focused attention in class is thought to be a crucial aspect in successful learning. Personal concerns such as anxiety, sadness, eating disorders, and other emotional problems, as well as learning or behavioral issues, can all cause students to become disrupted. In this topic, I will discuss how to cope the students' off-task behavior utilizing the teaching cycle steps. For example, from the case 8.2 of what Ms. Guevara did. Number 1, she identified the student's need. She determined that Jenny should cease tapping and concentrate attention as the student requires. Second, she determined a learning objective. So she resolved to persuade Jenny to stop tapping and participate in the lecture session. Third, she planned a learning activity. She chose to stand next to Jenny, make eye contact, and lightly touch Jenny's pencil as she resumed her lecture. In this case, she did not disrupt or interrupt her discussion. Fourth, she was preparing for the learning activity. She moved herself into position to carry out her strategy. She did it so she could move freely or she wouldn't be obvious that she was distracted. Fifth, she conducted the learning activity. She actually stood next to Ginny, making eye contact and softly touched her pencil. She can't create a fuss or interrupt her lesson because of it. Ginny should cease tapping her pencil if she taps her hand. Last, number 6, she evaluated how well the learning objective was achieved. Ms. Guevara watched Jenny to see if she would start tapping or looking around again. If the student did not tap again, it indicates that she understood what Ms. Guevara was attempting to convey to her or that Ms. Guevara's plan was effective or not. The techniques is a better way to deal with off-task behavior in students than Ms. Blight's approach in case 8.1, where she failed to apply the teaching cycle steps, leaving the children embarrassed and possibly unable to attend school. Hi, my second topic for today is all about deal with misbehavior before they get to you. Teachers allow off-task behavior until they become so frustrated that they are too stressed to deal with the situation effectively. Teachers should interact well with their students and discover some strategies to avoid them from becoming stressed and unable to regulate themselves. Since if this happens, they will be unable to think clearly and will begin to do useless things. Teachers should first regulate themselves before they can control their students. Miss Blight, for example, did not think carefully and distracted her lesson in case 8.1.
Good day, everyone. I am Ivan Pablo, and I am going to discuss on two of the several suggestions for responding to student off-task behaviors. These are either responding decisively to an off-task behavior or not overtly reacting to it at all, and distinguishing between teaching students to be on task and building character. First is either responding decisively to an off-task behavior or do not overtly react to it at all. When a teacher's first attempt at dealing with a student's misbehavior is indecisive or perfunctory, the future occurrences become more difficult to handle. Here is the reason why. When a teacher is aware of off-task behavior but doesn't direct students to on-task behavior, students generally think that the teacher isn't serious about expecting them to be on task. This kind of attitude takes away from the serious mood or the business-like climate that should be in a classroom. If a teacher tells students how to behave but doesn't do anything to make sure they do, the students won't bother to listen. Some teachers may repeat their demands for students, like for example saying "pay attention class," to stay on task until they become irate and enraged, at which point the students will eventually comply. Students learn to tune out their teacher until he or she becomes angry and frustrated as a result of this practice. Half-hearted efforts that are non-productive or counterproductive waste valuable energy and time. As a teacher, you have the option of delaying your response to an off-task student behavior until you have the resources or time to create and implement a more effective strategy if you find yourself in this situation. Next is distinguishing between teaching students to be on task and building character. Sometimes a teacher loses sight of his or her responsibilities while reacting angrily to off-task student behavior. If a student is displaying off-task behavior and the teacher gets mad at him, the anger makes the teacher unable to see things clearly. Instead of doing something to stop the student from acting so badly again, the teacher got off track trying to make the student feel bad for being mean. A teacher can help a student replace off-task behavior with engaged activity without building character. For example, if a student is doing off-task behavior at school, the teacher can focus on keeping that student disrupting the class and getting her engaged in a learning activity. The teacher should focus on the condition interfering with her ability to learn rather than on the poor behaviors. That is why it is important that teachers must be able to keep students engaged in academic tasks as well as employ strategies to reduce classroom disruptions and inappropriate classroom behaviors. That will be all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Fiona Martilino, and today we are going to tackle about a cautionary note regarding private meetings with students and avoid playing detective. A cautionary note regarding private meetings with students. Teachers often find private meetings with students afford productive opportunities to teach students to cooperatively be on task. It is critical for teachers to be able to meet with students privately. It demonstrates to students that the teacher understands them, values them, and is interested in them as people, which helps to protect their well-being. These are some measures a teacher should take before holding a private meeting to his or her student. First, such meetings should only be conducted in an official school meeting location, for example, a classroom or office. Best to have the student's parents, another teacher, or one of your supervisors present during a private meeting. The meeting's purpose should be clearly stated ahead of time. An agenda is a tool for staying on track, except for brief, unplanned chance meetings. Do not socialize with students except at public schools' sponsored events. Only interact with students in ways that avoid any appearance that the line between the role of a teacher and the role of a student is crossed. Keep your school supervisor informed of the reasons for meeting with individual students and the circumstances surrounding those meetings. Next is avoid playing detective. Instead of encouraging competition between you and your students to play the detective game, when a teacher notices disruptive behavior in the classroom, he or she should issue verbal warnings, non-verbal warnings, remind the students of the classroom rules, redirect the disruptive student's behavior, and redirect the student's attention to a new educational task. With these methods, this will cause the students to stop their disruptive behavior.
Good day, everyone. My topic for today is all about the use of alternative lesson plan and use the help of colleague. But first, let me discuss to you the use of alternative lesson plan. Planning is the important skill a teacher should possess. According to what I've read, a teacher who plan better teach better. Each teacher has her own style of planning. Some make more extensive than others. So we should implement a planned learning so that we can expect that our student to cooperate with us and become engaged. There are few hindrances when it comes in teaching. Your expectations don't get along with your original plans. So that's when the time we use an alternative lesson plan just for us to be prepared for the possibility that all students' cooperation is not as forthcoming as we expect. It is really important to use an alternative lesson plan because it can help the teacher to handle the students that who are off task and at the same time can manage the classroom. Use the help of colleagues. When thinking of a traditional classroom, you probably envision one teacher teaching alone with a group of students. But as for now, to deal more effectively with off-task behaviors, the best way to improve an educational experience is to ask for a help with your co-teachers who also experience the same situation with you. You would do well to seek out a few teachers in your school on whom you can depend on. You work out cooperative arrangement for handling discipline problems and share ideas and provide counsel on how to teach students who get off task to be on task. In that way, it can be easy for us teacher to handle the off task behaviors of our students.
Good morning, everyone. Now I'll be discussing the continuation of the ideas implementing for each of the following suggestions for responding to the students of task behaviors. Now we're already on the ninth suggestion, and it states that use the help of the parents and instructional supervisors. In this area, it contradicts to the notion of myth of the good teachers. This myth basically means that a good teacher should be able to handle all behavioral problems on her own and within the confines of the classroom without asking for help to parents and to supervisor. However, Kantir and Kantir advise the teacher to request assistance from students' parents as needed. There are many students today whose behavior is so disruptive that the teacher must have assistance from both parents and the supervisor or the principal in order to deal effectively with the child and his behavior as soon as possible. The next one is, do not use corporal punishment. When we say corporal punishment, it is intended to cause physical pain to a person. In a classroom setting, corporal punishment is not advisable undertake in the student as it links to a range of negative outcomes for children across countries and culture, including physical and mental ill health, impaired cognitive and socio-emotional development, poor educational outcomes, increased aggression, and perpetration of violence. Also, it does not guarantee that it will be the solution to the off-task behavior of the students. The next one is, know your right and limitation. In disciplining students, it is still crucial to know your right and limitations as a teacher. Being aware of school district policies and principles of accepted professional practice can help, as can a habit of being reflective before taking an action. You have a profession to keep, and if you exceed to the limits of your authority when dealing with discipline problems, it could be a reason to make your license and ability to teach in risk, since there is an order that prohibits violence in teaching profession. The next one is, maintain your options. Once you're aware of the extent of your authority, don't exhaust it. For example, you tell your student, either sit down immediately or you're out of this classroom for good. You have committed yourself to that. In most situations, is the extent of any teacher's authority. If the student doesn't sit down immediately, you have left yourself little in recourse. Did you really want things to go that far? Before exhausting your options regarding a situation, seek the help of the supervisors. And the last is, know yourself and your students. Knowing yourself and your students before responding to students of task behavior is an advantage when already handling a situation or a problem. As teacher, ask yourself, why do you handle things the way you do? How far are you willing to go with a plan? How much time and energy are you willing and able to invest to solve a particular problem? What are you willing to risk? And also, be receptive to individual differences among your students. Measures that effectively deal with the off-task behavior of one student may be disastrous with another. On the other hand, don't give up on an idea because it doesn't work for all students all the time. The better you understand yourself and your students, the more effectively you will be able to respond to displays of off-task behavior with decisiveness, sensitivity, and flexibility. And that's all that covers of our report. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Fermilin Jane A. Parpan, together with my co-reporter, Imaika A. Lapani. We are assigned to report Chapter 9, Modifying Off-Task Behavior Pattern. This chapter will help us to develop strategies for leading students to supplant off-task behavior pattern with on-task behavior patterns. In systematic techniques for changing habits, there are two components. First is the formation and elimination of behavior patterns, and the need for systematic observation. The formation and elimination of your students' behavioral patterns are constantly influenced by behavior modification techniques. These are positive reinforcement, punishment, and negative reinforcement. The act of rewarding good behavior is known as positive reinforcement. Punishment involves applying an unpleasant sensation in response to the undesirable behavior in order to deter it. Negative reinforcement encourages a student to behave well by eliminating the negative consequences of the misbehaving. In order to succeed with the behavior modification principles, you must influence while creating learning activities, connecting with students, and constantly putting them to use when dealing with behavior problems that are off task. The need for systematic observation. It is a quantitative data gathering method where an observer records their observation in terms of previously defined codes while constantly observing events or behavior. This is where behavior modifications plan's effectiveness can be evaluated, and it is where being systematic is very helpful. Applying the principle of extinction. When students realize their behaviors are no longer rewarding, they start to break them. If behavior actually occurs for a reason, they help us achieve our goals, and if we stop achieving our goals once we engage in a particular action, that behavior would eventually stop taking place because it will no longer benefit us. Conscious design or unintentional changes wipes out both desirable or on-task and unwanted or off-task behavior patterns. Unintentional extinction. Only in the presence of rewarding reinforcers can only consciously create a certain pattern of behavior. Therefore, the conditioned response weakens until it vanishes if the rewarding reinforcers lack of the unconditioned response. Intentional extinction is to consciously use the extinction principle to help students learn to stop engaging in a particular off-task behavior pattern. Extinction is not the only approach that may be used to assist your student in changing their off-task behavior patterns. When it is unable to effectively control any positive reinforcers for an off-task behavior pattern, other strategies such as punishment are more appropriate. Alternative behaviors pattern. There is always some sort of behavior among students. An alternative or replacement behavior patterns appears once a behavior pattern disappears. As a result, you should pay attention to prevent a student from starting a new pattern of unpleasant behavior while you are trying to assess them to stop an existing one. An alternative on-task behavior pattern that contrasts with the off-task pattern can be positively reinforced. Applying the principle of shaping. What is shaping? Shaping is the process of promoting constant attempts to copy a desired behavior. Therefore, when utilizing a shaping strategy, each approximate representation of a desired behavior receives reinforcement, but non-approximation of the desirable behavior do not. Maintaining desirable behavior changes. Reinforcement schedules. The exact rules utilized to provide or remove reinforcers after a certain operant activity are known as reinforcement schedules. The scheduling of positive reinforcers has a significant impact on how long a behavior pattern lasts. There are two types of reinforcement schedules that are particularly concerned in dealing with off-task behavior in the classroom. These are fixed and intermittent. In fixed schedules, both fixed intervals and set ratios can be used in fixed schedules of positive reinforcement. Fixed interval schedules, initial response is rewarded just after a predetermined period of time has passed. This is why when a predetermined amount of time has passed since a prescribed behavior was displayed, make sure that positive reinforcers happen regularly. Fixed ratio schedules is a schedule of reinforcement. When a prescribed behavior is displayed to a specific extent or frequency, provide a frequent positive reinforcers. The amount of responses needed is equal. Contingency contracts is a legal arrangement that specifies the activities and result that, under certain circumstances, will occur. You engage into a contingency contract with a student when you decide to give them prizes or privilege in exchange for behaving in a certain way. Contingency proclamations are similar except that the prescription is imposed on the student by the teacher rather than a mutually agreeable arrangement.
Good day everyone, I am Maika Apograpal. I'm going to tackle the last two parts of maintaining desirable behavior changes. Intermittent schedules or intermittent schedules of reinforcement. This can be described as interval schedules and not continuous. This is when a response is reinforced after a certain amount of time since the last reinforcement. So for some instance, intermittent or unplanned reinforcement schedules can be lead to undesirable behavior. Planned schedule of reinforcement. This refers to a plan which determines when and how a reinforcement is given to a student for appropriate behavior. This provides a fixed schedules of behavior pattern to be initiated and exhibited. Students also can be intrinsically motivated to continue the pattern without outside intervention. Cueing or cue is a signal which a person uses in order to gain a certain person's attention voluntarily. It also serves to exhibit existing and terminating behavioral patterns. For example, in case 9.13, by blinking the light once, it is the signal or the cue used by Mr. Sitzer in order to modify the noise of his students. Generalization and discrimination. Generalization is when you provide cues or signals to remind them what is common in both situations, while discrimination is providing them with cues or signals in order for them to differentiate what's the difference between the two situations. How to distinguish it? So, observe case 9.21 and case 9.25. Case 9.21, it implies generalization, since Allison knows the similarity between the two situations. As she added this on her sentences, her mother would become responsive. So, she would then realize that adding it would grant her request for what she asked for. While in case 9.25, it implies discrimination, because Grace demonstrates the difference between the two situations. It only pats and never slams the ball when it comes to her younger brother, while when it comes to her older sister, she tries to win and try his best to slam. Applying the principles of modeling. Modeling is when people learn new behaviors from one another. It also teaches us new behaviors and influences the frequency of resilient behaviors. So modeling is an effective way to teach behavioral patterns to students. Example of modeling is case 9.28. So as Katz observed her mother spanking him, she also do it to her sister. That's when modeling works. Another example is when the child sees you washing dishes, the child imitates you and wash the dishes on her own. Applying the principles of situation. In applying the principles of situation, you need to consider that it is a method for terminating the off-task behavioral patterns only when the natural cure punishment is a consequence of the behavioral pattern. And next is the natural curing punishment is not dangerous and are willing to tolerate the off-task behavior long enough in order for the situation principles to be effective. So satiation is the toleration of the activity of the students until the students get satisfied.
And that would be all for our report. Thank you.
Hello? 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 Group 8, Group 8, Group 8. Hello, Group
Yes, ma'am.
8. Sulti sa ako net be katong sequence kinsa tong tao, di na ko maapas ang pangalan. Katong sequence lang kinsa nagsalita una, ikaduha, ikatulo, ikapat. Palihog. Siyempre si Mayula man tong una. Sunod,
Pablo, ma'am.
asan pa ha? Ang sequence ato kay Mayula,
Pablo.
Pablo,
Martilino.
Martilino,
Nakila.
aha.
Orculio.
Okay. Arrange to siya, no? Mo to, no? Ang arrangement niya.
Yes, ma'am.
Sige, kay maglibog ko, kaya di man makaro na sa ako. Di man ko kabat-in. Sige.
Last nag-present, ma'am, group 9 to siya.
Oh, group 9 bitaw. Oh, una ang katong fixed schedules, di ba? Ang unang topic, sige. Kinsa to? Sige, group 9, tingog. Tingog.
Yes, ma'am.
Rapal.
Oo, kay ang modeling, kinsa man tong sa modeling? Mo man to last.
Rapal.
Rapal, sige. Arin sabi. Kanang sunod-sunod. Sige.
First si Parpan, ma'am. Then Rapal
Parpan.
Lion sa
Hindi ko kabati. Sa tingog, makatman.
Parpan, ma'am.
Ah. Sige, Parpan. Sige, Parpan ang una. Parpan. Sunod.
Then Rapal din, ma'am.
Sunod ba to? Si Rapal ba to? Di ay, una. Di lagi ko kaapas sa pangalan. Sunod. Na speaker. I-arrange sa by speaker. Di alphabetical
Dora,
order.
ma'am. Dora, mi, ma'am.
Bantog. Tama, duha ra may akong gi-assignan anak, di ba?
Yes,
Nak.
ma'am.
Oo, kamuraman Parpan og si Rapal. Ang sunod na po si Rodriguez, right? Hello? Rodriguez, murag harap ko na sila. Si Rubilio siguro yung partner. Tama?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Atong tapuson. Ay para mag-oral sa dayon ta.
Susun pa sunod, ma'am.
Ha?
Susun.
Dili man, Rodriguez man sunod na. Grupo?
Murag kami pa.
Ha? Sige.
Ikaw mag-share screen, James.
At pa, ang sunod ni Rodriguez o ni Rubilio, si Salesi o si Santillan, right? No. Di sir pa si Susun o si Villar. Ay, yehey! Natapos ang ginta. Unya, mo ano din, ta sharing na din ta og ideas, ha? Sige. Be, kinsa unang speaker kay Rodriguez na grupo?
Rodriguez first, ma'am, then Robilios ang second.
Okay. Kuan na muna. Group 10 na muna. Nak.
Ma'am, chapter 10.
Oo. By group ang good ni. By chapter ang pagkuan. So 8, 9. Sige. Ang sunod ninyo, group 10. Group 10, no? Dili. Ang group 9, sila man Parpan. Unya ang group 10, sila Rodriguez. 11 na din. Sige. Group 10 sa ta. O 10. Ang group 10 kay si Kuan. Si Rodriguez o Robilios. Sige. Okay. Sige. Kay aron atong last meeting nato. Napa ba tayo last meeting? Napa ta last meeting? Napa, right?
Apa,
ma'am. Apa. Murag na apa. O mao na atong
August 1.
i-orals. O amo na atong i-orals tanan, ha? Ha? Tanan jud katong wala diri nga mga akong pangutan-on. Okay? Hoy, nasabtan ko aron maka-work
Yes,
na
ma'am.
maka-work na dahil mo sa inyong mga projects. Di ba? Sayon naman siguro inyong mga projects, di ba? Sagat inyong mga projects. Sige. Sige, magpagbagdoy-bagdoy dong. Nagklase man ko dong. Isa dong. Nay. Sige, bagdoy-bagdoy. Ase pa. May question aning inyong e-portfolio. Hoy. Before ta mag-ano, may question aning e-portfolio.
Yes, ma'am.
Unsa man inyong mga pangutana? Ani. Before mo mangutana, musulti sa ko ha. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Isa mo kan kayo akong anak. Ay ang imong ikog. Ay sa ba na imo man ang dili ba dili. Ay Ginoo ko Lord. Tanaw mga estudyante. Sa mukan. Ang iyang ikog kay sige ihapak-hapak sa keyboard. Na. Sige. Unsa man yung pangutana, be? Gilisdan mo sa e-portfolio ninyo?
Kuan, prof, kanang unsang inclusion.
Ha?
Unsa ang mga ibang butang adto abito na anang output.
Sige. Ingon ani. Ang e-portfolio is a collection of all activities. Pwede sa activities. Sa unsa man ang mga activities, pwedeng makuha mo og mga kanang screenshots sa mga kanang presentations sa uban. Pwede pod. Pwede pod ikaw maghimo creativity nga imo. Di ba na amon tay mga activities nga naa sa module? Pwede pod ka imo to siyang pick upon. Unsa na kapakaano big kay sa imuha. Kay it could be man good nga unsa impact ato sa imo sa mga lessons. Kay pwede pod maghimo ka gamay nga kanang ako lang kung unsa gibuhat sa uban. Ang uban topic kintahay na. Topic to. Kanang naghatag sila og kanang pila ra ka sentences nga ilang reflection nya. Naapod kinta sila dito gipang-insert nga. Pwede po siya mga picture. Basta something siya nga imong mga learnings. Kaya pwede magani na siya reflection, pwede po siya mga comments nimo. No? Nya, pwede po siya ang impact ana sa imo unsay nagpabilin sa imuhang mind. Do you understand? Pero unsa man siya kanang heavy sa inyo? Heavy ra kay sa inyo? Halo.
Okay lang, Prof.
Okay naman, ma'am.
Ha? Kay mura lang siya ba og kada ibutang ta kada module. Paano man ta? Module 1 up to 10, right? Dili. Kuan ka modules ni. Basta kay mura group may tanan group pila gid mo ka groups? Ay, wala.
11 ata mo.
11. O ang pinaka-grupo 11 kay sila susun, right? O 11. So, nag-expect ko nga kada lesson pwede pod kada lesson or kada topic nga na-impact sa imuha. Unsa man na sa imuha? Padangitan na amang ganitoy kanang mga film, no? Nga given sa inyong nga pwede ninyo tan-awon, di ba na? Di ba na yung mga film? Suggested ba itong mga films?
Yes,
No?
ma'am.
Pwede ito nyo tan-awon pagkahuman. Pwede mo mag-screenshot. Wait lang. Ay, sa kay Murgi. Uhaw. Dali. Nagyaw-yaw na gid sa pag-ayo. Sige. So, pwede po to siya nga inyong tagaan og reflection. Ipagwapa lang inyong kuan kung sa inyong mahimo. Nga. Ayaw lang po mo pagpugos nga. Gamit yun mo Canva, gamit yun mo. Ang uban mong gani, nagigamitan ra nila og kanang slide, ganun sa PPT. Pwede ra. No? Sige. So, meaning to say, sa inyong e-portfolio, inyong learnings, pwede po inyong reflection, pwede po mo pick up mo sa module unsay pinakaano ninyo nga learning ato sa the teaching learning environment, di ba na aman jud mo nga na-impact sa imuha, or pwede pod nga adto mo base sa case unsay impact ato sa imuha. Okay? Tapos pwede pod inyong i-exhibit ang inyong mga quiz. O di ba? Pwede po ito yung exhibit. Ay! Or, pwede po na amoy mga unguarded moments nga kanang nag-online ta, no? Mga reactions sa inyong mga classmates, pwede po. Okay. Understood man siya nga, nananghid ta di amin nga, bahalag mag-picture, no? Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, tapos, kanang, pag magsalita mo, mag-orals mo, open na inyong kuan, inyong kamera kay para your classmate can take picture of you kay lami po na. You know? Mga ipang collage. Kanang kamo na mahibaloon sa inyong pagpagwapa sa inyong e-portfolio. Akong pangutana, unsa may problema kanang burden ba kayo sa inyo ang paghimo sa e-portfolio? Ha? Tapos naman kasagara sa infographics, di ba? Kaya pwede po ka ang imong galing infographics, kaya pwede mo galing mo na isulod dito sa imong e-portfolio, di ba? Tama? Uy, hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Pwede mo galing mo na isulod?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo, pwede po na imong reflection, imong isulod dito sa imong e-portfolio. Ang e-portfolio manggod sa mga bata, mura siya collection of all the activities. Although, tinuod, kanang lahi na gyud kung nag face-to-face ta. Kaya di ara magutaaning online, unya, di puntanan mo participate, di puntanan mag-open og camera. However, I believe na mo po siguro impact sa inyo nagpabilin og unsa inyong nasabtan sa kada module. Naa ba? Unless wala gyud kay papakabana sa imong klase. Ha? Naamang ka ha?
Yes, ma'am.
Mao ang imong isulod dito sa imong e-portfolio. In other words, ang imong e-portfolio is actually the things, ang mga things nga imong na-learn, katong nakahatag og impact sa imuha, unsa imong mga takeaway sa ato? Kana bang mas lamit man gud siya mga bata if imo ba gud siyang ma-recall kanin sa kuan ganahan ko aning module 1, it's about mag-pick up ako ani pila ra ka lessons nga unsa na i-impact sa ako. Di ba pwede? Di ba pwede? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oo. So, dili man gid nga hutdon gid nimo pero I expect nga kada lesson naabi mo maistorya, naabi mo pick up. No, naabi mo pick up, naabi mo learn, especially in classroom management. Nasabtan ko? Nasabtan ko?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sige. Sige. Mura ba siya takeaways of everything that you have learned? Nasabtan?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes,
Oo.
Yes.
Kay pwede magani mo manguha og mga answer sa inyong classmates dito. Basta katong ilang ipang message. Di ba?
Gagi.
Uy, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Oo.
Yes, ma'am.
Na magani reflections dito nga kana bitang mga students making excuses ana gani ala ila pang pamutang dito ana ba so ila na good siya na mo idea ron ug unsa i-portfolio
Yes, po, ma'am. Ma'am. Yes, po, ma'am.
sa una giwala nako ni kaning i-portfolio pero pag meeting man gud namo kay kanang katong sa Manila main campus nag-meeting man gud mi na students should make their own portfolio of their learnings. No? Kay posible man siya mga bata na imong ma-realize nga, hala, ora na ko na mati-mati ani pero kung go over ang lesson, lami mo ini nga lesson Ana di ba? Naa kay ingon anang impression. Mas okay maguna siya mga bata kay at least sure bul ko ako nga teacher, sure bul ko nga ay salamat ta ara gid siya na learn ani nga module. Ara gid siya na learn aning module 2, nakalagay siya na learn aning module 3. I do not say nga, imong kuhaon tanan, i-mention jud nimo 100%, dili mga anak. Pwede ra gyud you mention, pinaka-highlight, anak nga module nga, na-impact sa imo as a teacher, nga soon you will use when you will be in the field. Naintindihan niyo ako? Nasabtan ko ninyo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sige. Does it make lighter sa inyong gihuna-una nga nalisdan mo? Ha?
Yes, ma'am.
Nakatabang akong gisulti ron to make things lighter for
Yes,
you?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
In
ma'am.
other words, ang i-portfolio mga anak, I just want to know what you have learned sa mga activities na inyong naano sa kada module. Pick that up. Kay naman tama tay mga sharing, di ba? So, moingon ka nga i-portfolio is a collection of all your work. Pwede inyong ibutang gihapon ang inyong kaning unsa gani inyong mga kuan, inyong mga projects, infographics, maka ginag-beauty sa inyong i-portfolio nga you have done this, di ba? Nya labi na kung imo pa yung butangan og gamay nga description, gamay nga imuhang takeaways unsa imong kuan ani na learn ani da mas labing maayo. Di ba? Kaya pwede manggod ka kahimo o ka ng kaugalingong pattern sa imong presentation. Di ba? Di ba?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
Imo
ma'am.
naman ang creativity. Imo naman ang creativity. Pero ayaw gud palisdi ang imong kaugalingon, ha? Hoy, mga bata. Ayaw palisod-lisura. Oo, kay kung imong ilisod-lisod imong life, nadila na hinuon ka kahuman. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Klaro?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, another question po.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, dear.
Ma'am, another question po. How many
Yes.
slides or document po ang minimum?
So
Tsaka
kung 11 ang atuang ko anak, ang atuang lesson, so mag-expect din ko og mga 20 more than 20. Kay 11 na gudaan ang lessons, di ba? Ang module. Ang grupo na nag-present, right?
yes.
Oo. Sige. Pwede po kada na ako taga sa inyo queue ha. Na ako ihatag sa inyo nga queue. Pwede po sa ilang mga slides sa gibutang ba ato nila dito, right? Naabi tagi-sharean ba tatanan sa ato ang sana? Sa ato ang FB. Pwede po mag-pick up ka dito, screenshot nimo unsay pinakalami nga angle dito. No? Pwede ka makakuha dito. You are free. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Pwede mo i-access.
Yes, ma'am.
Pwede po imong i-post niya. Kuha din ka og kuan. Kuha ka og kanang picture, image ato, di ba? Wala may problema kay that is konsumo para sa everybody. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Daghang kag masulod kay pwede man gani yung kitahi ka nga kani the off task behavior nya imong giistarang dito si Mayola kay siya man speaker ato, right? Pwede. Depende na sa imong art ug unsa imong gusto, di ba? Di ba? Oo. Nasabtan ko?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige. So, tanan man nga ko ano, kisa ganito mag-collect sa atong tanang presentations para ma-intact.
Ako, ma'am.
Ikaw to, Han?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige, Han. Han, imong i-collect Han ha. Unya, usahon ra nimo Han. Pwede man na sa i-drive nimo Han. Nya i-share nimo sa ako ang drive.
Yes, ma'am. Nakabuhat pa man ko og drive, ma'am niya. Wala pa sila nagsulod. I-forward ako sa GC namin, ma'am.
I-always lang nimo i-update Han. Kay usay matabunan. Unya, dito na lang dayon sila magsulod kay. Ako po dito ra po ko manguha, no? Sa inyong mga requirements. Dito ba
sige, ma'am.
sa inyong mga presentation? Yes, Dai.
After nga makabuhat sila tanan, ma'am, sa ako mag-collect sila para isa lang ang.
Oo, isa hara Dai.
Message din ka, ma'am.
Kay pwede man pud hinay-hinayan na nila na dito sulod. Dili na gimiste ikaw. Kay maubusan
Sige,
oras na maubusan kag oras unya. Makatake pud siya sa imong time. Pero kung naanay drive, ilarang ibutang dito kay human na ba yan ni si 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, di ba? Mag-10 na ba ya karon? 10 o 11? So, we have still, it's still 11:37. Pwede, dili sa ta magsigig tabi, di sa ta mag-share-share, ato na tingbon by next meeting. Unya, atong tiwason ang atong presentation karon. Ganahan mo? Okay,
Yes,
ra
ma'am.
sa inyo? Sige, para to give justice po sa ato ang ano, although nag-notes ko ha, nag-notes ko sa inyong mga presentation. Is that clear? Oo.
Yes, ma'am.
Tapos,
Yes, ma'am.
Oo, ang inyong mga presentations ibutang na sa kuan, ibutang na sa atong FB, ha? Para malili pud sa uban, para they can raise also something. Kay usahay man good, muray no maano na ta magsigitag pamati sa video, ang mahitabo noon magrumble na ang mga utok ninyo, right? Pero kon ma-review nila nga akani ganahan ko mo comment ani. Ganahan ko mo comment ani, di ba? Is that clear? Is that
Yes,
clear?
ma'am.
Sige. Padayon ta sa group unsa man nga group? Group 10. No, katapos man sila si Rapal, si group 10. Rodriguez, are you now ready? Sige da. Wow. Rodriguez group. Come on. Sige man yaw. Gutom ka? Come here.
Balik sa.
Sige, i-share imo sound, Day. Mayo gani kay alami atong signal ron. Wait lang kam. Man, gutom. Wala nang food o input ka. Kapoy ang akong
music.
Non-destructive behavior. Part man gyapon sa off-task, di ba? Di ba? Pero kung off-task ka, destructive ka. Naaman po dinooy off-task ka, dili siya destructive. What do you mean by non-destructive? Parang dili po siya makadisturbo. No? Wala po siya masakit na ubang tao. Pero off-task siya, wag gihapon. Right? Off-task. Tara, picture. Di ba para maka-learn kag destructive. Ikaw destructive man ka. Ang iyong behavior, di ka disturbo sa ako. Disturbo. Bad na, bad. Wala sounds na.
Honorum.
Sige. Di ba disturbo?
Hi, good morning everyone. So for today's video, we are going to discuss the chapter 10 topic entitled Dealing with Non-Disruptive Off-Task Behavior. Hi, good morning everyone. So for today's video, we are going to discuss the chapter 10 topic entitled Dealing with Non-Disruptive Off-Task Behavior. So non-disruptive off-task behavior is defined as generally blended while doing nothing or doodling or appearing to work to spend a lot of time looking through things like locker, desk, or ceiling, or etc. Like the picture shown in the PPT, the child or the student is very destructive. To be exact, to shorten the term or the phrase non-disruptive off-task behavior, it is usually the students who are lacking or who are distracted in terms of their attention in the class sessions, or they're distracted maybe in environmental factors, or specifically the students who are lacking or has
Attention.
difficulties in focusing in their
Oh, cannot focus.
study sessions or in class sessions. So after defining non-disruptive behavior, we are down to discuss now the sixth behavior. After defining non-disruptive behavior, we are down to discuss now the six common non-disruptive
Off-task behavior.
of this.
Sige.
So first is the mind wandering and daydreaming.
Kana,
Mind
non-distractive
wandering
ba na?
and daydreaming are similar processes, but both involve jumping into inner fantasy world by losing attention to the outside world. The difference is a matter of degree, not the kind. Daydreaming can be highly dissociated from reality, whereas mind wandering can be grounded in a relevant reality. So mind wandering is like thinking of what ifs and
Physically
for example,
present
ang
but
student is
mentally
nagsulod sa classroom
absent.
and
Mao
some
na.
of the other grades are nag-break na. So ginaisip niya is, what if kami sab, nag-break na sab? What if na ako sa gawas? No? While on the other hand, daydreaming is far from reality. One best example for that is ang picture na naa sa ang PPT. Ang girl na nilupad paadto sa pagawa sa window. It doesn't really necessarily mean, it does not really mean nga nigawas ang babae sa window nga nilupad physically, but it refers to the mind of the student, no, nga kanang naa siya sa classroom, and not physically ang nilupad, but ang iyang subconscious, ang iyang huna-huna nga nigawas na. Mind wandering and daydreaming for me is not really a bad behavior of the student. It has pros and cons on it. Siguro para sa ko, for me, ang pros ani is this imaginative way, or this imagination, if we educators can handle them well, ma-turn nato siya into strength. Why man? Siguro imagination is a power for me because they can imagine things that can be relevant to the topic that was given. For example, solving mathematical equation. Ang bata pwede siya maka-imagine nga, if like this in situation, if the problem you have given to the students was like this, if you buy 3 candies and each candies cost 1 peso and you only have 5 peso coin, how much will be your change? So pila man imong sukli. So dito pa lang makita na nimo daan nga how gi-imagine, how gi-portray, how ang ginagamit sa batang yung imaginative way of thinking into reality. I mean, paano niya nagamit nga, what if ako tarong bata na, what if ako nipalit taro og candy tapos na ako'y 5 pesos, pila man akong sukli. So dito pa lang daan makita na nimo nga it is really a power for the children to have a powerful imagination. And it can help them also to improve their creativity. Para sa ko, it is not a bad habit or bad behavior ang mag-imagine, but it is how ang teacher nga nag-handle, or how teacher would strengthen this power the child that is having. No, it's not naman bad idea na mag-imagine, but kanang paano niya ma-change ang perception sa bata nga imagination is not a bad thing. It is the way how you use your imagination and use it on purpose, no, nga ma-relate siya sa klase, na ma-relate siya into into ways that are beneficial to both teacher and the student. So that is mind wandering and daydreaming. So next is refusing to participate in class activities. So that is mind wandering and daydreaming. So next is refusing to participate in class activities. These are quietly bland and while doing no resistance to participating in class. This plays a great role in dictating students' discussion and behaviors in learning. Introverts and shyness can lie behind such resistance. So, based on my experience as a high school student, I also have these classmates na mga shy type, mga introvert. But this classmate na ko, like, I don't know what's the reason behind na hindi sila participate during class discussion. Because makayon ko nga bright sila because in terms of quizzes and exams, they have higher scores than me. Kung ako lang i-rate ang ilahang mga exams before sa among school is like mag-range to 49, almost perfect ang ilahang score sa exams, but they're not really into participating class activities. Maybe siguro ilahang fear of rejection nga kanang ma-reject sila nga tasin ay mali di akong answer, pero makita din mga bright sila kaya naman sila answer, but ang mag-participate lang siguro ang problem. Maybe their level of confidence. So teachers should assist them, kaya di ba, like sayang naman na nag-answer sila tapos nag-create sila answer nila, correct ilang answer, but wala silang answer, di ba? So si teacher should be more open in accepting suggestion, or the students should also be open in accepting suggestion nagikan or correction nagikan kay teacher. So okay, both plays an important role in class activities. Si teacher dapat approachable, si student dapat mo approach siya kang teacher. So unsa man nato kay para mo participate na si student sa class ni teacher, maybe we can create group activities where they can be more activities mga magpapa-boost sa confidence ni student para at least or to dapat acquainted si teacher and si student para ang discussion ni teacher is na connection between the student. Dapat also basing si student pud also wala naka-understand sa lesson or basing si student dili siya ka-relate, that is why dili na siya interested. So dapat si teacher must find ways na kanang makuha niyang attention ni student in creating examples that really na maka-relate si student anak na topic or ingon anak ang examples, no? So mo to siya ang refusing to participate in class activities, what a teacher should do, a student should do, and what does it mean when we say refusing to participate in class activities. So the next is failing to complete homework and assignments. This defined as usually the student's lack of motivation. The next is failing to complete homework and assignments. This defined as usually the student's lack of motivation to focus and working on their courses other time. They have poor management skills to which most of their assignments get delayed. Let us go deeper into this discussion and the top common reason why students fall into submitting their homework under assignment papers. Communication is very important in solving homework problems. So there should be a communication between the teacher and the student. If the student did not understand what was the topic all about, then he or she should the student should top its teacher. Dapat mo top ta teacher. We should not fear to ask questions. Nga naman, kay it's for our own goodness na gihapon. Kinsa man ang magka-benefit kita naman gihapon. So that is why it is very important nga si teacher before pa nag-start ang school year, si teacher and si student will get acquainted sa iyahang teach. Si teacher and si student will be acquainted to address future problems parihani. And also dapat si teacher is approachable enough and understanding to assessing his or her student. Then next one is dapat si teacher is like what I said, for example, wala siya nakasabot, I mean there are assignments that are given. Dapat si teacher po learns how to he should give feedback sa homework ni student. Like for the young ones or for the youngsters, they love to be appreciated kang sa mga bata. If it's very good, it's very colorful, it's very, very unique. No, there are many ways on how we can appreciate or how we can give feedback to our students, and it really gives them it really gives a big impact. Why? Because it can also boost their self-esteem na ay tingnan ko ni teacher very good, ay next time mas very good akong gusto, so mas maayo dapat akong buhaton, no? So there are many factors on how can we assess this kind of behaviors that student may show us on the field of teaching. So that is also I am passing. Thank you for listening, and I am passing the stage now to the next reporter. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. This is the continuation of the topic dealing with non-disruptive off-task behaviors. I am James Brian B. Rubilius, and I will discuss the inappropriate behaviors of some students in class and how to deal with them non-disruptively. Let's start with failing to bring needed materials to class. The lack of resources in classrooms can cause extreme distress to the students and
Correct.
teachers.
That is why
Not
I
only are
give
the
you all
students
your
and teachers in
materials.
distress, but they are unable to learn to their fullest potential because they are not being given the proper resources. As educators, we want to see the children in the community succeed, right? We want to
Correct.
see them perform to their best abilities, but this can only happen if the school is able to give them what they deserve. The
Correct.
lack of resources in schools needs to change. Not one single person can change this on their own. It's going to take a community to make a change.
Correct.
Even a small change, such as donations or small class
The school
sizes,
must
can
have
create a
policy.
domino effect. The change will be noticed, and so on. People are going to want to continue to make this positive change. By having a strong side, you then are more credible. You want to show people that there are areas in the world where schools don't have the resources to teach children. There will only be a change when people begin to work. The lack of resources in a classroom can have negative outcomes on children. But now you know what must be done. Be the start of a change in your community and work hard to ensure that the children in your neighborhoods are getting the proper education that they deserve. Being absent or tardy. Tardiness can cause students to fall behind academically and lead to increased stress
Correct.
levels for you and the student. Attendance is more than a housekeeping task that teachers are responsible for completing each day. It's a way to look after students. Attendance records tell you whether a student is almost always, usually, sometimes, or never present on time or at all. So as an educator, how can we deal with these students? First, find out what's going on. First and foremost, it is not our job to make a student feel guilty for being late. Rather, it is our job to invest in their life, and that
Correct.
includes finding out what
Why?
obstacles they are facing. Some
Correct.
students might not require much support to make a change, while others will need you to intervene. Before doing anything else, find out if there is anything you can do to help.
Correct.
Third, make the beginning of class important. For students whose tardiness is simply caused by a lack of respect for class start times, apply additional pressure to arrive on time by making the start of class extra important. Assign warm-ups and quizzes within the first few minutes of class to communicate to your students that tardiness is not an option. Fourth, be consistent. Tardy students will only get the message that tardiness is a problem if you are consistent with your discipline. If you are lenient one day and strict the next, regularly tardy students are likely to continue taking their
Correct.
chances with being late. The same goes for taking different actions with different students. Repeat offenders all need to experience the same consequences in order for your policy to work. Cheating on test. A fair assessment of student
Cheating.
work is a critical factor in
Sabi na
creating
sa
an
online.
optimal learning environment. When students cheat, faculty can no longer fairly assess student work.
Correct.
Charging students with cheating is never easy. If faculty members do not fulfill the responsibility for maintaining academic integrity, it makes it difficult to charge students with infractions of academic integrity. Here are some suggestions for handling cheating. First, be certain that you are acting fairly and objectively and that you have all the facts. Keep written records of the description of cheating incident and the actions you and others subsequently take. become familiar with the sanction alternatives and at what level students' appeals leave departmental jurisdiction, be able to justify the sanction chosen by attempting to match it with the level or type of cheating that has taken place. And lastly, become familiar with section 1404 of the code so you know the procedures to follow. Once a student has been formally charged with cheating accordingly to the student code, campus procedures for infractions of academic integrity are set in motion. When a student decides to appeal the charge, it is important to continually communicate with your department head as the appeal process moves through its stages. Knowing what is in the code is very essential.
Di ba? Totoo yan. That's very true. Si Kuan to no, Robilius to no, magsalita. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo, totoo bitaw. That is why gani, tama to. So, it takes a community in order to solve the problem, no? The situations. That is why man gani, PNU is requiring all faculty that before classes, have you noticed? Before classes, isend na, ibigay na ang module. Nga naman. So that everybody can keep track. Alam nila kung anong gagawin nila. Napaka-importante, no? Especially mga materials, mga resources. There are faculty who just let their students look for the topics. Di ba? Well, okay man yun, pero mas mainam talaga. Pero ano kasi, sa kadami-dami sa mundo ng mga topics na related, sure ba ka na ang makukuha ng mga bata ay yung related talaga or yung kasali talaga sa coverage na iti-take up mo? Di kaya mas maganda na galing talaga sa iyo pagkatapos doon na sila mag-aaral, doon na sila mag-base. Pwede rin naman na mag-research sila, pero ang pinaka-basic na topic siguro ay ibigay na ng teacher ang mga materials, di ba? O di ba mas useful siya? O ano kaya ang mangyari sa atin kapag hindi ko rin binigay ang material sa inyo? Siguro hanggang ngayon hindi pa kayo naka-prepare ng inyong mga requirements, right? Ng inyong mga i-report. Di ba? So, sige, thank you for that. No? We will talk much about all of these things later. So let us have the last. Oh, bakit namatay? Asa na? Ayan na. Let us have the last group. Last
Dealing
group ba?
with disruptive.
May isa, ma'am.
Oh, sige. Kanino ito? Nagrupo na naman.
Behaviors.
Salisi?
What is disruptive behaviors? Disruptive behavior are actions that interfere with other students being on task or reject opportunities to learn. These are those which impede learning and teaching and have the potential to escalate or spread if left unchecked. Dealing with non-violent disruptive behaviors. Non-violent disruptive behaviors are actions that can interrupt other students to learn and teacher to discuss without them being harmed. Example of this behavior are disruptive talking, interrupting, clowning, being discourteous, and failing to clean up. How can we, teachers, deal with this kind of student? There are many ways to handle this situation. Example of this are, first, use fewer words and less emotion, or stand near the off-task kids but keep eye contact with the on-task kids. In this way, the discussion will not be delayed or stopped, and at the same time, we can discipline or minimize the said disruption. Another way is to give a 3 seconds freeze look where you are going to silently stare the disruptive child. Also, caught their attention and calmly explain the right thing to do. You can also give them a choice. Example, stay quiet and listen intently to our discussion and end the class early, or keep noisy and let's extend the time before ending the class. Next is to involve students in the lesson to engage. Example of this is, I'm going to call you in 1 minute to demonstrate how to solve this problem. And the simplest way is to understand the situation. Understand why they are acting out because they may have a problem and redirect that attention in a more positive way. Lastly, why is an organized and dirty classroom that is failed to clean up is considered as a non-violent disruptive behavior? Because
Correct.
it can affect
Dirty.
how students learn, and a clean and organized classroom is the best effective learning environment. So, for
Correct.
them to follow your instructions, explain why cleaning is necessary and what are the results if they failed to clean up.
Good morning, everyone. My topic is all about dealing with violent disruption.
Safe school program in place. Violence prevention strategies must be implemented in school in order to address such violent students' behavior. It is important because it helps teachers and students to feel safe inside the school. Let's remember that to deal with this violent students' behavior depends on how you can rely in school security system and the school-wide implementation of policies for effectively responding to antisocial conduct.
There are some examples of violence towards students and teachers that are commonly happen in school, such as bullying, fighting, attack on teachers, and vandalizing. Let's first discuss what is bullying. Bullying is antisocial behavior intended to intimidate and treat the well-being of another. Bullying are not just happened inside the classroom. It also happens even outside the classroom. If a student is threatened or strike a teacher or other adult school personnel, then students are in serious trouble with school authorities and law enforcement authorities. Expulsion or suspension from the school is likely the consequences of it. This kind of violence should be dealt by the teacher and school administration because student fear of being bullied is a major cause of student absenteeism or why student doesn't want to go to school anymore. Fighting. Fight between students tend to follow 3 stages. First, posturing and provocation. Students often taunt and threaten one another and demonstrate to one another and observe that they are preparing for action. In short, in this stage, the students are asking or getting ready for a battle, and these are commonly happened mostly in male than females. It is because male are more likely want a combat fight rather than girls. Second, intense physical aggression. If no teacher or other responsible person intervenes successfully during stage 1, the verbal aggression and posturing escalate into intense physical fights. Third, lull. In this third stage, when students are in the fight, they become tired. Therefore, the fight becomes less intense and students may pause momentarily. Also, a student who is faring worse may attempt to look for a way to terminate the fight altogether. In the absence of a successful intervention during the lull, the fight is likely to escalate once again. So, if in the first stage there's no teacher or personnel intervenes as early as they can, the fight between students are more likely to become escalated into intense physical fighting. In addition, fighting is not just all about a combat between students. There are also a fight which includes a weapon. And in this kind of violence, teachers should know how to address this situation. Therefore, teachers need to be trained in strategies to confronting situation, students, an intruder who threaten them, and their students with weapons. The following are the suggestion strategies for the teachers. First, remain calm. Second, use slow, deliberate movement. Third, use the 3-step turn and withdraw techniques. Fourth, inform the assailant that you are clearing the area. Fifth, offer options. 6, comply with demands. And lastly, summon help. Attack on teachers. Students might attack teacher in many different ways. Therefore, a strategies that can help the teachers in preventing the attack are the following. First, strategies. You are not intimidated by the threat of violence. A teacher shouldn't allow the students to intimidate them through their threat. Second, you do not pose a threat to students. If the teacher doesn't want the student attack them, then they should also avoid perpetrating violence on them, like giving a punishment that can already cross the limit, roughly touching them, and also discriminate them. Third, strategies. You use physical force with students only in drastic situations, in which it is the only reasonable means for restraining them from harming themselves or another. Fourth, you are sensitive to potentially volatile situations and do not make yourself available as a target when students might unthinkingly react aggressively. Fifth, you avoid making ultimatums in which the consequences of students' non-compliance is the most severe sanction you can levy. 6. You never tolerate violence behavior in your presence. A teacher should remember that they have a right to use the full power of the legal system to prevent violence. 7. You build positive relationship with students, respecting them and earning their respect for you. To avoid violence between teacher and students, a positive relationship is a must. Lastly, you and your colleagues consistently implement a sound, safe school program. Vandalizing. Vandalism, like discourtesy and an unkept classroom, can be extremely disruptive to a learning environment. Some examples of vandalism are painting graffiti on walls, breaking windows, or arson. This kind of violence among students should be handled or addressed by the school administration and law enforcement authorities because it can affect the school facilities and some vandalism might harm other students.
Ano man tuon sini sa buato? Pas?
Yes.
Ha? Hello? Pwede to Ala unsa may buhaton ana? Di ba kuan ra man siya ma-change ra man to yung kapaspas? Ma-change ba dili? Uy, tingog. Nagluha-luha kung matang inapas. Hay, tingog ba? Ilan man to ni ano, no? Kaya ni Salisi man to, itong Santillan, di ba? Hello? Hello, Miss Alice. Nice raman dito siya, actually. Pero kay,
Yes, ma'am.
mura man siya nahimong kuan kay, nahimong, sana ka na murag robot. Unsa na gani, murag kingkoy ba?
Ma'am, mo to, ma'am.
Ha? Murag na kingkoy, no? Ha? Unsa ato baton ato? Kuan pa to siya unsa na, ma-edit into kanang iyang tingog nga ka-normal. Hello? Nawala nang mga Hello?
Pwede pa, ma'am, kung naa pa ang raw copy sa edit.
Man ron.
Pero mag-export pa po, ma'am,
Ay,
again.
iulahin na lang. Bali, paghatag niya dito sa kuan, paghatag niya dito sa drive nato, kato nang insakto, katong dili na murag kingkoy og tingog. Murag ba siya kingkoy, no? Hoy. Murag ba ka nang fast forward, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige, pwede raman to ing napalihog, Hanilet. Hanilet.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Naniud to na lagi ni ba? Unsay mo sudan, guys?
Ma'am, katawar ako.
Naniud to na ni ba? Dayhan.
Ma'am.
Imo to ipa-change lang, no? Ayaw to fast forward, no? Unsa na
Ma'am. Nakadungog mo na sila, ma'am.
Sayang kayo, no? Sayangan ko. Lami ra ba unsa nga pagkatrabaho. Di ba? Nice ang kuan, ang ilahang mga presentation, no? Ang kantong tingog lang. Sige, last be, kamamati tabi. Si Suson. Okay na ka, Day? Sige, Son, kamamati mi, Day.
Good day, everyone. Ma'am Nada. We are the last reporters of this subject, managing the learning environment. This discussion will be divided into two parts. First topic will be delivered by me, Glyza Joy, and Susan, titled Legal Basis in Relation to the Learning Environment.
What are legal bases anyway? According to the General Data Protection Regulations, legal basis serves as the cornerstone for data processing. This means that in order to process personal data, an organization must establish precise legal justifications in any field. A legal basis is always present. The major legal basis consists of three Philippine constitutions: 1935 Constitution's Article 14, Section 5, 1973 Constitution's Article 15, Section 8, 1 to 8, and 1987 Constitution's Article 14, Section 1 to 5. Sections 1 and 2 are integral to the rights of every person to a quality education and easy access. It also tackles the various costs and benefits for students, including the student loan program, subsidies, and the most well-known among us students, the scholarship grants. Additionally, it outlines essential steps to ensure that disabled and out-of-school kids have equitable access to education and opportunities. On the other hand, the Section 3 advocates the necessity of incorporating the study of the Constitution into curricula. As a result, since it was required to be covered in our studies, laws are always present in our Prof Ed classes. The same holds true for the values we develop while learning. Encouraging nationalism, patriotism, love of humanity, respect for human rights, other virtues, freedom of religion, belief, and Philippine citizenship obligations. You may read it all in Section 3. The statements about educational institutions and religion are found in Section 4 and 5. That all institutions, regardless of whether they are public or private, must adhere to the educational system which oversees and regulates all educational institutions. Additionally, it declares that no educational institution is created only for alienated individuals, or the opposite. Every institution's participation, income, and assets must be respected, and they all must be used for educational objectives only. You can learn about academic freedom, the freedom to choose a career, the rights of teachers to advancements, and more in these parts. Because without clear and distinct authority, students would cross the line and mistreat other people working in the field of education, and vice versa. Thus, it is necessary for everyone to have an equal right and an hierarchy to be established. Because of this, there are laws like this. They are rights and laws that back up, help, and safeguard the person while being in the field of education. However, one must not abuse such rights. In addition to supporting different elements that are basic to and an extension of the major legal basis, other legal bases do the same. It supports the main legal basis, the main legal foundations needed to establish a solid foundation for educational laws. Because schools are the main source of education, as we know, as a result, the government is constantly working to establish laws that will make education beneficial for all people, for everyone. By constitutional mandate, the Constitution establishes the legal foundations for education in the Philippines. All educational institutions are governed by state oversight and regulation.
The management of the educational system is the responsibility of the DepEd, CHED, and TESDA. It was a majority conclusion that regulating the rights and obligations of the interested parties in order to provide a learning environment in the classroom is the core purpose of educational law. The legal basis establish a learning environment that is more justified, upright, and smooth operating field in education. I encourage everyone to read the legal basis in education in the link that was sent all together with a video earlier. Thank you.
I am Gracie Poblete Villar, and we will talk about the DepEd Child Protection and Anti-Bullying Policy. First, we will define the DepEd Child Protection Policy, or also known as DepEd Order Number 40 Series of 2012. It is a special protection for all learners against all form of abuse, violence, exploitations, discriminations, bullying, and other form of abuse. To give you a quick overview, here are some important pointers of the policy guidelines. Who are the children considered under the policy? It is any person below 18 years of age, or those over but are unable to fully take care or protect themselves because of physical or mental disability or condition, or pupils or students who may be 18 years of age or older but are still in school. Who are responsible for protecting the children? All adults are required to be aware of and be alert for the sign of abuse. All adults are required to report abuse and neglect. One of the most common cases of abuse in educational institution is what we call the bullying. What is bullying? It is refers to any severe or repeated use by one or more students of a written, verbal, or electronic expression, or a physical act or gesture, or any combination thereof, directed at another student that has effect or actually causing or placing the latter in reasonable fear or physical or emotional harm or damage to his property. Now, what is child abuse? So child abuse, on the other hand, it refers to the maltreatment of a child, whether habitual or not. Type of abuse, it includes physical, psychological, emotional, and sexual abuse. Here are some signs that you may notice in children who are probably experiencing the abuse. A behavior change, the mood is changing, the communication is changing, the isolation, and fear bullying.
Group 12, at saka Group 11. Hello? Hello?
Hi, ma'am.
Darling, sayang ang darling, napakaganda pa ng presentation ninyo. Pero yun na nga, never mind kung lumampas. Never mind. May raw data pa kayo doon? Mayroon pa kayong editable? Hello?
The last reporters, ma'am, na
Sige, i-back to normal ninyo. Meaning to say, yung normal na pacing, para hindi magiging ano. No? I-back to normal. Ano? O pati yung mayroon pang yung isa, yung parang cartoon din ang dating, no? Oo. O sige na, tayo. Kaya may klase pa tayo after this, no? Okay, very good. A round of applause for Group 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Congratulations ha! Natapos talaga natin. So, by next meeting, oral discussion na tayo. No? Hello? Hello everyone? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Tapos, I am reminding you requirements ha. Oo, kaya lagi yan. Kay mga sige, so babay na. Ito ang aking itin, oh. Hello? Ito, maliit pa. 4 weeks pa ito. Sige, bye-bye. Kay may klase pa ako. Oo. Nag-notify na sa akin.